Welcome to the Realm Kast.
Welcome to the Realm Kast, Mortal Kombat Online's official podcast, the original Mortal Kombat podcast bringing you well-known and significant members of the Mortal Kombat community. I am your host, the Mortal Kombat Phantom, and with me as always is my co-host, Yanni. Welcome, Yanni.
Thank you, Phantom. And today we would like to introduce Liz Malecki, also known in the Mortal Kombat community as the original Sonya Blade. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Liz, thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you, and it's good to see you again. So, yeah, thank you.
Good to see you, too.
So, usually we like to kind of ask our guests a little bit about their history before Mortal Kombat and, kind of talk about how they were introduced to Mortal Kombat and things like that. But before we get started, who was your favorite Mortal Kombat character, or do you have a favorite?
Oh, me, of course.
I thought you were going to say that.
That's the answer I always hope to hear, If somebody's actually played the character, they've got to have that bond with them. So that's good to hear.
Of course, yes. Well, I created her in a sense, so that's why it's my favorite. Next to it would be Johnny Cage. Is that we had so much fun.
I like how that's fitting in many ways, actually, so which we can talk about. You've obviously portrayed Sonya in the first game. Have you got any favorite games, and would that happen to be Mortal Kombat 1 itself, or?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't play the other games, so I just played Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and after that, I pretty much didn't even play, and I didn't play them that much even back then. So,
kind of going backwards before, you start working on Mortal Kombat, you're British, is that correct?
No.
That's funny because, we looked up online and one of the references has you listed as being born in London. And so we weren't too sure about that.
Well, that's not true. Somebody put that on Wikipedia, and I think it's because the Sonya Blade character is born in London, but I was not born in London.
That's actually funny.
In Illinois.
Okay. So how did you end up getting involved with this? I mean, you have a degree in ballet, is that correct?
And fine arts, yes, and dance.
Okay. So how did you end up from, studying fine arts in Illinois to being involved in the Mortal Kombat franchise and kind of setting this precedence for Sonya Blade?
Well, I was working at a health club in Chicago called Lakeshore Athletic Club. And I was teaching fitness classes there, all sorts of different types of fitness classes. And that was the same health club where all the other Mortal Kombat characters, well, they weren't Mortal Kombat characters yet. They were all martial arts classes. This was a massive health club that had everything from tanning booths to racquetball courts and tennis courts and pools and weight rooms, aerobics studios, all of that. So Dan Pacina and the rest were teaching martial arts classes there, and I taught the fitness classes. And I was taking, I think it was Dan's martial arts class at the time when he and the rest of them decided they would try to experiment with this idea of filming themselves doing martial arts and see if they could digitize it and put it into a game. And they just asked me to join in on it. So that's how it all started.
So you were actually taking part in dance classes at the time then. So you actually had a bit of martial arts experience too going into this.
Yes, I did.
So it was actually, the martial arts, the other characters that reached out to you because you were kind of had a relationship established at that time, like with Daniel Pacina and the others? Yeah,
well, I mean, we were coworkers. We were all employees of the same health club. So we saw each other, at work, basically.
Were you working there full time? Is that what you did for a living?
Let's see. At that time, no, I was working in the financial business, and I was
interesting.
The aerobic classes after work and on Saturdays. So I only worked there part time.
Gotcha. So you actually did financing and aerobics, and that's such a different concept of Sonya Blade than how the character ended up being.
I know. Well, that's the fun of it, I guess.
So actually about that then. So obviously starting off with Sonya Blade, you gave her more of an aerobics focused design even, but personas as well. So was there any discussion at that point in time when the creation of the character was taking place as to how she would possibly be more militaristic, or was that just sort of a bit of backstory added after you'd portrayed her?
I'm not sure. The story was already created. I mean, that piece of the story was already created. That Sonya Blade was in the special forces in the military. So that part was already figured out. I don't remember how it came from there, but it was already established what kind of a character Sonya Blade would be.
Did you end up, was that your outfit that you ended up bringing to it, or was this something that the studio, oh, was it? So this is something that you actually worked out in?
Yeah, I didn't work out in that outfit, but it was similar. That's what we wore back then when we were teaching exercise classes. And then I just tried to, so, I mean, it's the kind of thing that we wore at the exercise classes. And then I don't remember how we did it, but anyway, so I just added the other pieces to try to make it look like kind of martial arts looking and kind of militaristic, I guess.
Cool. Did you have any kind of inspirations when you were portraying this character, or was it just kind of a script that was handed over to you and like, do it like this?
No, there wasn't a script there at time that I knew of or that I can remember.
Well, you managed to hit that, as we said, militaristic sort of tone. You had a very commanding presence in Mortal Kombat 1, like from the stance to the fighting style, and especially in the promo material as well. Was that as a result of like your own input as well, or was that influenced by any of your colleagues around at the time or directions given?
Well, Dan Pacina wanted the character of Sonya Blade to just be very, very strong, both physically and I guess personality-wise and character, as a very strong female that was a strong fighter, I guess that's all I can say. But given that she was in the special forces in the army, she'd have to be kind of like what later was like G.I. Jane. That's, I don't remember if that was around at the time now, but that's kind of how I sort of thought about it. That she's kind of like G.I. Jane, keeping up with all the guys, doing whatever they could do, push-ups, chin-ups, shooting, fighting, the whole thing. Not a really girl,
How about, because you mentioned obviously Dan Pacino was helping out with how he was, with the portrayal of the character. How about Edwin and John Tobias? Did they give you any sort of direction with how to portray the character too?
No, not that I can remember.
The costume itself, you said you brought a lot of these pieces to the set. Did you feel like it characterized this character that you're trying to portray?
Yeah, but I don't actually remember precisely how it came about. I really don't.
That's okay. It's been, 30 years now, so...
I'm very curious just on this topic, because we're talking about the costume and all. And obviously, you gave it your own sort of spin. You tried to make it more martial artsy, but it was your really, not your aerobics at it, but what you were teaching in kind of. So if you could go back, was there anything that you were sort of considering adding to it, or what that you would have liked to have changed to it maybe?
I guess just make it more authentic, because those things on my wrist are just like sweatbands that you use in tennis. That's all it is. And I just got a sash and put it around my waist and another one around my head. I mean, it would, you have to remember that this was just being created as we did it. It was all just brainstorming among us. Dan and I especially. I mean, the other guys were involved too, but they weren't around when Dan and I were working on my character. So it was just, who thought this would be what it became? So
yeah, really,
just experimenting and goofing around. I mean, probably if we had to do it again, we'd make it all real, real authentic military accessories at least or something. Yeah, I don't know. And the shoes, I mean, that was also like a cross between martial arts shoes and workout shoes. It was just for the moment stuff, you know.
Did you bring your aerobic experience into the game itself? I mean, Sonya had special moves like her leg grab and things like that. Did this come from your own agility, or how did those type of things develop?
Oh, that was actually the leg grab move was from a dance that I had done, a modern dance piece it was when I was at University of Illinois in the dance department, and we had a guest dancer from New York come, and she had us create this work. Believe it or not, what we had to do was learn a series of hand things. And then we were supposed to, and she taught us that it was it was just kind of weird stuff like whatever, and hands and arms. And then the assignment was for each of us to recreate those hand moves into our whole body. And so, and it became a piece that we won competitions from. And
Cool.
so one of those moves turned out, my interpretation of a hand move turned out to be a handstand where the legs would come back and up again, which ended up being that throw.
Oh, wow.
And so that's where it came from. I didn't create it at the time of Mortal Kombat. I had created it before, but it was something I could do so that when Dan said something like, think of a unique special move that you can do. And that's when I just did that one. And that ended up being like a big part of the game, obviously.
Yeah.
That's her
If you
iconic
did that
move.
over and over again, if you're playing Sonya Blade, you really got a lot of points and ultimately win.
So I think I remember a video. I'm not sure when this was posted. It could have been years ago, but it was sort of like the behind the scenes of you actually doing the leg grab. And I think you had to hold it for a sec. I remember, I think it was something along the lines of Ed or John saying to you that you need to hold it for a second longer because you were pulling them back. You were pulling back too fast and you had to hold it there so that they could actually capture the frames.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's somewhere on online somewhere. I don't know if it's on YouTube somewhere, I think, what you're referring to.
That's so interesting to think about how it's sort of evolved since then, actually.
Yeah, I know. That's where it came from. It was one of the things that I had to do in that dance that we created in college.
Wow.
Do you remember what the actual hand movements were?
No, I can't. I was thinking about that the other day when I was trying to think about how did that come about. But I couldn't. I don't remember the hand movements. I don't remember the name of the guest dance instructor that came from New York, and I just don't remember it. But it was really cool. And she chose from our entire class. She chose, I think it was 5 of us. And she thought our interpretation of those hand moves was the most unique. And it was 3 or 5 of us. And then she put up all of us one after another together. And then that was the final piece as each of us did the interpretation that she liked the most, that she put them together. So sometimes we'd be alone or there'd be one of us doing something and the other one doing their version and so on. And then that was it. We won the competition from that.
That's cool.
How about with another move then? You obviously with Mortal Kombat, we have the fatalities. And I remember hearing a story that you were asked about what you think you could make for like a fatality. And you said, well, why do I have to do anything violent? And I think that's where the sort of kiss of death came from. Is that the case?
I don't remember that. I know Dan has mentioned that, so I'm sure it was true. I was probably joking around, knowing me. I was violent, I don't, I'm sure it was joking. Anyway, I don't. And so then I think Dan came up with that of death. Really fun.
Going back to the leg grab, I think on a previous episode, I think Daniel mentioned that he kept kind of getting kicked in the face while trying to hold your legs for that move. Did you suffer any kind of injuries or anything like that throughout filming?
Oh, no. No, that at all.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, that's what we want.
Very straightforward. And no other challenges maybe that were posed to you throughout the record?
No, I don't think so. Oh, we just
pretty
did it,
smooth.
piece by piece. Dan had I think that I'm quite sure it was the last character. So they are to be created. So I think they already had a plan of the different moves, the uppercut and the high punches, the low punches, the high kicks, low kicks. They had them pretty much set before me, except for the special moves.
Okay. The special moves most likely seem to have sort of stemmed from each mocap or each actor, such as yourself,
Right.
and your strengths and what you were able to do, and then they sort of went with that.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of, behind the scene footage and things like that throughout the years. As we mentioned, this game's 30 years old at this point. Like this year is its 30-year anniversary. So what was it like working with the rest of the cast? I mean, it looks like you guys had a blast.
Well, those guys, they're boyhood friends, so they're always entertaining themselves. I mean, they got their own thing going on, and it's always they're entertaining each other, cracking each other up all the time, making everybody laugh. I mean, they're the show, really. I just kind of go along with whatever's happening.
I found some footage earlier this week of when you guys were doing your promo tours, and one of the shows you ended up on was Games Master, and you actually fought Daniel Pacina in Mortal Kombat 1, and you did pretty well for yourself. I'm just going to say that, like, I didn't expect you to play as well as you did, and you ended up beating Danny at the game.
I'm sure that was all just luck. Trust me. I did not love what I was doing.
You did that leg grab move quite a few times, and yeah, I mean, it was cool to watch you guys play, but then as I'm watching, I'm silently judging your techniques, and I'm like, oh, look at her go.
I still have that game. I just found the game.
Oh,
no way.
That's cool.
Old game. I don't know if it has any, if it works because I don't have the batteries.
Oh,
But
wow.
I practiced on this little game the whole flight out from Chicago to London, over and over and over and over and over again, because I didn't know how to play.
So it was that your first time really playing it, like, consecutively, or did you?
Yes.
That's cool. Okay.
Well, I mean, I played it in the arcade a few times.
Uh-huh.
But to be honest, sometimes if I went to the arcade, people would be sort of stalking, not in a bad way, but there would be people around because I was there. And then I was even more embarrassed to play the game because I didn't know how. So I didn't want people saying, oh my God, there's Sonya Blade. And then, wow, but she can't play. So
Yeah.
I didn't play too much in the arcade. But I would play it at home because try to figure out how is this done,
That's hilarious. And then you ended up beating Danny live in front of however many people have seen that video now. During the show, they actually gave you a trophy. Is that something you got to keep, or what exactly was it? Because, it's an older video, so you can't tell.
Oh my God, they did. Well, I don't know I think I don't have it.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I don't have that. I guess probably Dan has it.
Okay. So as we mentioned, this year at the time of recording is Mortal Kombat's 30th anniversary. And you and the rest of the Mortal Kombat cast actually all reunited at Collector Maze's Level Up ICT Con for the 30th anniversary. How was it? Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, yeah. I always enjoy myself at those things.
Yeah. I mean, like, you haven't made a lot of appearances as the Sonya actor. I mean, I think the last time might have been the 25th anniversary. Is that right? Or
no, there's been a couple in between, but not a lot. It's true. I was in Phoenix a couple of years ago. Maybe.
why is it that you don't present at more of these conventions and things like that?
Well, the main reason is that I work as a nurse, and I'm almost always working weekends.
Oh, okay.
Or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that if I get a call to attend one of these events, I have to get off of work in order to do it. And it's very hard to get off of work. I mean, you have to find someone to switch with. So it's very difficult to get someone to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Gotcha.
They just want to do it. So I'm stuck. I just can't get off. I can't get off work, basically.
How did Sonya Blade go from working in finance, becoming an aerobic instructor, to becoming a nurse, a medic?
When I was in the financial business, was in the starting in 1987, and that's when there was a couple big market crashes. So I was a newly hired at the options exchange in Chicago, and the market crash in 87 was huge and awful, and men lost their homes. Traders lost their homes because of it, and I was laid off because I was one of the newest employees. So then I went on to move to Seattle, and I worked for another financial company. Basically, I worked for 5 companies in 5 years because of the results of the crash of 87 and what it did to the financial industry.
Oh my gosh.
So what I decided is, as much as I wanted to be a trader, that was the financial goal, was to be an options trader. But when I lost 5 jobs in 5 years, I thought that what career can I go into where I'll always be needed? And that was to become a nurse. So that's the strange connection makes more sense when you think of it from my position. That's how it all happened.
Were you actually, when you were doing the aerobics instructor, you had mentioned that you were working in financial, so this wasn't like a in-between position or anything like that?
The aerobics classes or the financial? The
aerobics.
Well, before I went into the financial business, I was a personal trainer, and I taught those classes full-time between the two of them. That was full-time. And then I got in because I knew of a trader at Lakeshore Athletic Club, the same club where we all got together. He offered me a job on the options exchange. So then I went to part-time teaching the exercise classes just 3 or 4 times a week because I was learning. The plan was to learn to become an options trader at the BOE in Chicago. And so then I switched to being a part-time instructor because I was full-time working in the financial business.
Okay.
Was there no option, or that you maybe considered even, to continue on in motion capture or anything, since you'd already had experience at that point?
Well, it wasn't going, as far as I know, it wasn't happening back then.
Yeah, I guess it would have been, well, at least with Midway in Mortal Kombat 4, right? That they started that sort of thing up.
Yeah, I mean, the motion capture is a more recent thing.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I should have worded that better. But I mean, to have continued on in the gaming industry in the fashion that you did in portraying Sonya at first, and then moving forward throughout the industry.
Well, I guess there just didn't seem to be anything else.
Okay.
In my awareness, there wasn't anything else to do, or I don't know. I wanted to be an options trader, basically.
Fair enough. Yeah. you had that path you chose, and then you tried to go with it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat at the time, just my involvement in it seemed to be sort of flash in the pan. Like, it was a big pop. It was really exciting, but I guess I didn't realize the full effect of it, that it was going to, continue on like it has at the time. Back then, it didn't seem like it was going to continue to be such an amazing thing. Like, it would be great, and then everyone would forget about it, So,
were you asked at all to come back from Mortal Kombat 2? I mean, I know your image sprite is kind of in there, but as a character?
No, because the idea was to have a different female for Mortal Kombat 2. Basically.
Was this communicated to you ahead of time?
Yeah. There was a project that we're just going to use a different it's in a sense, I guess, like the same concept, like 4 male characters and 1 female, but then they just chose a different one, I guess.
So, what was your opinion then on Mortal Kombat 1? Looking back on it, obviously you're not much of a gamer yourself, but like when you look back on it, are you happy to see how it is? And you've already mentioned how kind of crazy it is that it's blown up to what it is nowadays.
Oh, I mean, it was, who would have thought? I mean, when you think about it, I first had wanted to be a dancer, but that didn't end up turning out. Then I wanted to be an options trader, and that didn't turn out. And then here I am, Sonya Blade. That's like famous, and I wasn't even trying. I mean, it's just so weird. You know, you work at things in your life, and you want to be something, but something else comes by in the meantime. It's something you just never expected, and that's just a big surprise to me. And it continues to be a huge surprise whenever I go to these Comic-Cons and see how many people are there. It's just amazing to me. I never quite grasp how important it is to a lot of, people that are gamers, especially from that time.
I mean, you're talking to us like, right now.
Yeah. You guys are basically, the same level as actors that everybody goes out to see because you were acting in the game. So it's cool.
Yeah. Well,
so at some point in the middle of all this, you, as well as Philippon and Catlin Rodriguez, filed a lawsuit against Midway Games. When did this occur within, your timeline of Mortal Kombat 1 and everything?
I think it was during Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
Or just after. I think it coincided with the rumor of the movie being made, or the movie was made.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the movie was not made yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were promised financial more money for the making of Mortal Kombat by Midway, and they didn't come. They didn't follow up with that. They didn't, and so we started filing a lawsuit against them, and that's the other reason that I'm not involved in the other Mortal Kombat games.
Okay.
we were because they kept claiming. I mean, it would have been fine if they would have shared the money that was made with us, since we're the ones doing it and creating it. We don't need to get all the money because they put it together in the game and they advertised it, So of course they're entitled to money too, but it should have been some amount coming to us too. And so that we were, if I remember correctly, our lawsuit was in regards to intellectual property violation. The ideas were mostly from Dan Pacina, and with the input of the rest of us. Like I said, like my leg grab move, that came out of my experience and my head, and we used it for a move in the game. So we weren't, we felt entitled to be compensated financially for it, and we weren't. So,
this, as you mentioned, took place, I mean, most likely towards the end, the latter part of MK2's release, going into Mortal Kombat 3, which is, you didn't reprise your role as Sonya Blade for Mortal Kombat 3. And I think the lawsuit actually settled around 1997 or so? So does that mean it went on for quite a while, or do you not remember?
I don't remember at all.
Do you think if the lawsuit had never occurred, that they would have brought you back in as Sonya Blade for Mortal Kombat 3?
I think so, because I think she's one of the more popular characters. May not be the character I don't think she's a character that people choose to play in the game as much. But like when we went to London for our appearances there, the ones that were chosen were Johnny Cage and Liu Kang and Sonya Blade.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that were wanted there. I don't know. I especially back then, it seemed like Sonya Blade was a very popular character. So it would seem like they would have brought her back. if we weren't in that lawsuit.
You know, eventually in the 95 movie, your character got portrayed by Bridget Wilson. How did it feel seeing that portrayal of you on the big screen?
See, what I think keeps happening to the Sonya Blade character is there seems to be a tendency to make her sexy, and that's not what I like. I don't approve of that. You know, I don't think that should be the main image. The image should be of strength, heroism, you know, U.S. fighting for the U.S., you know, those kind of things. Again, kind of like G.I. Jane. You know, not being a sexy character first. And that's, I think that the character, the actress who played Sonya Blade was beautiful and sexy. So to me that comes out more strongly than being a strong woman, I guess.
That's interesting. I mean, like, I definitely do not deny the fact that she was absolutely gorgeous. But I personally got the vibe that she was still very well commanding. She did come across as a very powerful character. But I'm very curious as to how you felt seeing your actual leg wrap being brought into the movie in the fashion.
Just, I don't know. Just, I'm glad it made it into the movie. So,
Yeah.
pretty powerful, I guess, in more ways than one.
With a little bit of a crack at the end as well.
Yes.
I just hold on. I just realized that could come across. We're just talking about a sexy woman. I mean, the crack on the neck.
I know.
Just making sure.
It's cool. Yeah, I know what you meant.
So, I'm curious now, because obviously you had the lawsuit and everything, and movies come out. You haven't reprised your role as Sonya Blade. Is there any, or I was going to say, what's your relationship like, but is there any relationship between you and either NetherRealm Studios or Ed Boon and John Tobias at this point in time, or has there been no contact ever since?
I've had no contact with any of them since the making of the game.
Okay.
Would you be willing to reprise your role if the chance ever came up again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all would depend on the details. The devil's in the details, you know?
Right. What your contract's like this time.
Right. Exactly.
You know, DB actually has you credited as a female trooper in Mortal Kombat X, the 10th Mortal Kombat game. I'm presuming this is a complete mislabel at that point. Is that correct?
Say it again?
So your IMDb page has you listed as a uncredited female trooper in one of the newer Mortal Kombat games. So I'm judging by your previous answers that this isn't actually you.
No, I don't think so. I mean, unless they're taking some image from somewhere else, but I've never been contacted about that. I don't even know what you said.
Yeah, I just kind of judging by your previous answers, I think it's probably just a mislabel on IMDb. Yeah. I don't know how that ended up there.
Yeah, I don't either. I'll look that up.
Yeah, that would actually be interesting, because that's something that's been there for quite a while now, I think.
Yeah.
Since X's release. So
really?
That's what, 2015, I think, Benton?
Yeah, 2 games ago now, so.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of which, obviously you've mentioned that you haven't really played the games. You just played a bit of Mortal Kombat 1 when you really needed to. But have you actually kept up with this series in any fashion? Like, have you checked out the latest games? Have you seen the latest movie or anything?
No, I haven't. And the only time I saw the new games was when I was at the Phoenix Comic-Con, which had to have been in about 2019 or 18. I came out here. I live here now, but I mean, I was in Chicago still then. And we came out to Phoenix for that. And I saw the new Mortal Kombat games. And I was like, oh my God, these are so high tech.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat 1 just looks so primitive, you know? I couldn't believe it made me think all the more, how could anyone care about Mortal Kombat 1? You know?
It's always funny, like hearing that, because now if you look back on it, it's like, well, it looks nothing like what the games look like nowadays. But back then, it was groundbreaking, even technology wise, you know. But I'm very
we still, it's the only game that, as to my understanding, the only game that actual people were filmed doing it, right? I mean, the newest Mortal Kombat game, or the motion capture thing, right? So someone's being filmed doing it, doing the move, but it's like some graphics are what you finally see on the game.
You get the general sort of body type. You actually have an actor's face sort of put onto it later.
Yeah, they 3D scan them and put them into it. So it's similar technology to what you guys did in a way, because they are getting the actual face of that person and putting it onto these skeletons. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, whenever we ask people on the show what their favorite game was, it's funny because a lot of the answers are the original Mortal Kombat series, like Mortal Kombat 1 or 2 or 3. Every once in a while, a guest will come on and they'll reference, you know, one of the newer games. But for the most part, like, it's the original trilogy that people love. Yanni, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I mean, it generally moves around between MK 1, 2, and the 3 era. You barely get a Mortal Kombat 4, to be honest, but we've had one, I think. And then if there's ever going to be any other games, it's either Deception or 9. I've never really heard too many of the other options, really. So yeah, it's always, despite the fact that, you know, the later games have all this, you know, advanced technology, we've evolved as, well, the series has evolved, really. Everybody still really loves the original trilogy, and despite the fact that it was on older tech, because it had something to it, you know?
I'm just curious from you guys, why do you think that is? I mean, because I don't play games. I'm not a gamer. So why do you think that is?
Nostalgia is a huge factor, in my opinion. And I think you and I are both the same in that regard, is that you look back on those times when you were playing when you were younger, but it's also just, it had this vibe. The characters and everything, yes, okay, it doesn't look as good as it does now, but they still looked awesome for its time. And the atmosphere of the game, the contrast between the characters and the actual backgrounds and such, there's so much to it.
Yeah, and then, you know, adding onto that nostalgia thing, Mortal Kombat was designed to kind of pick up on the nostalgia of the era, because there were so many different aspects of it that were based off of other movies, you know, story plot points and things like that were kind of picked out of things that were popular at the time. And it took kind of the best of everything out there and put it into one video game with something that nobody had ever seen before. And I mean, saying just that it's just nostalgia to me is, you know, it's not giving it its full credit, because this game...
I'm not saying this.
No, I know. But yeah, I mean, there's so much more to it that, like, yeah, looking back on it, we're nostalgic for it. And that's why games like Mortal Kombat 9 did good, because they redid everything that was in the original series. But it's more than that, because this game has captured everything that we loved about that era and put it into one thing. And people still play it. I mean, you know, the arcade machines, the little miniature arcade 1-up machines, they sell out all the time. Every time there's a new one released, people still want to play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wonder if people are still somehow picking up on the personal nature of the whole game, even if you can't put your finger on it for sure what it is. Like a movie where there's a graphic background for scenery used versus the real scenery.
Yeah.
We may not really be able, us as viewers, we may not be able to put our finger on it, that's not real, but we get a sense that a certain scene is powerful versus another scene. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe people are picking up on the personality the realism that went into Mortal Kombat 1, even if you're not exactly sure how you know, but there's just something about it.
Oh, for sure.
I honestly think that's why the 3D era didn't do as well, was because they switched everything over to, you know, the 3D motion capture and stuff like that. And everybody, I mean, Mortal Kombat 3, people still love that one because it you know, they were trying something new, but it still had that realism. It's like you're playing a movie, as I have heard it described before. Like this is your movie characters, and you get to play them.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You
Interesting.
know, kind of speaking back on the way that the series has evolved and stuff. Did you realize that Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade actually end up as a couple in the story?
No, I think that's great though, because I've had a lot of people who love the game that would say that. And I'm trying to think of where, but they say to me, "Do you think Sonya's ever going to get together with Johnny Cage?" Well, so I guess it wasn't inevitable. I guess sometimes I've communicated with people online, and that's what they said, or other people. But I just found that out the other day on the way somewhere this past weekend at the that they got together and they had a daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Sonya, correct me if I'm wrong, and Sonya ultimately is a hero, right? And according to the story, that she sacrificed herself and blew up a cave or something so that her Cassie Cage could get out and somebody else, so she dies.
Yeah, that's basically what happens at the beginning of the latest game, actually, which is funny because she dies and then immediately there's like this whole time merger thing, and the younger version of Sonya reappears, but this time she meets her daughter, but as a younger Sonya.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting, and for all the trouble we give to Mortal Kombat 11's story, it's pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm going to have to check it out further.
I'm just curious now, because you appear as Sonya for certain events. You don't appear all the time, but you don't keep track of really Mortal Kombat as a whole. You know, you're not checking out the latest movies and everything. But do you ever get asked, like, at these events about certain things with, like, the later Sonya? Like, for example, we were just asking you what you think of, the movie Sonya. And does that not give you any sort of incentive is what I'm looking for, or curiosity to check out what's happening with the character of Sonya?
I guess I'm so out of touch sometimes I don't even know that anything has been going on. And then when I find out, then I do get curious. But I'm just a very busy person. And then so I just sometimes just don't have time for, there's so much I have to do. I don't have time to be doing things, just that many things just for fun. I mean, so
fair enough.
And you know what? I don't have a circle of friends that do either. But that might make probably a big difference. If my circle of friends and family were into games, then I'd be in touch with it that way. But I'm just kind of like in my little bubble out here in Arizona.
I'm curious, when you do go to these conventions and things like that, what's your experience been like? You know, as somebody who, as we mentioned, you're not at a lot of them, but you do tend to go from time to time. What's your experience been like with the fans and things like that?
Oh, that's always great. They're wonderful. I've gotten some great gifts from people, and they're just, I guess my experience, I feel that I'm just me, and I don't feel I'm, deserving of all this special treatment. It just doesn't, I'm not really an actress. Like, I'm really not, It feels kind of silly I feel silly, I guess. I feel like I'm being given a lot of credit that I don't really deserve, I guess.
Well, you say that, but you did stamp your mark of approval with your leg wrap, right?
I did. But I really do enjoy talking to all the people, and we see it's, even though I don't go that often, I tend to see some of the same people again, and I'm surprised at how far they come to be a part of what we're doing and show their appreciation.
What kind of gifts have you received? I'm super curious now.
Oh, there was I wish I would have. Did I bring it here? Well, I didn't. Well, I brought this one. I got this.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
Sonya
really
Blade
cool.
statue. That was great.
The classic
I
victory pose.
Yeah, Sonya wins. And I got some dog tags, which I wore last weekend.
Cool.
All right.
Justin, like military dog tags. And someone made this great plaque for me. It was just great. You want me to grab it? I have to go.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. I'm really curious to see this plaque now. It's going to be interesting.
It's huge. If it's the one I'm thinking.
I'm trying to figure out the pictures on the back of the wall because I see Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the left one is Sonya. Oh, the left one's her favorite picture. She told me about that one. We're looking at your photos.
Yeah, and that one in the lower middle one, that's the original and from magazines.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
See, it says here, I can take it off then. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
cool.
actually a page from a magazine.
Really? So how did you find the magazine for that?
I don't remember. I mean, I think it was a magazine.
Yeah, it's just something you kind of kept all these years.
Oh, yeah. So I framed it. That was back 1993.
I love it.
So-
That's cool.
I framed that, that's the game page. Obviously, it's
yeah.
the game, opening game page. But this was, you asked about Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage having a kid. I think that is what's written on here. It's real long to read, but it's from Eduardo. I can't read the writing exactly, but he wrote this whole thing out.
wow.
Oh,
me.
cool.
Who that drawing? Isn't that
Wow.
beautiful?
That's
That
amazing.
is really cool. Yeah.
It's pretty. He signed it.
If- I have a feeling that we know that.
Do you know that Eduardo? Yeah, I think I've talked to him since then, but he's in 2017.
Oh, wow. It's a beautiful piece. I love seeing what fans come up with. Like, that's so cool.
It's just gorgeous. I love it. I was gonna put that on the wall too. I just didn't get around to it yet.
Yeah, I think I found it. Yeah, it's Edu. Well, I'm going to butcher this most likely.
Oh,
but
it's Edu. Okay.
Cueve? Yeah, Edu. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
cool.
A huge Sonya fan, so that makes perfect sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, that's really, really cool.
that was
They're
pretty
very
cool.
creative.
A question for you. Do you have any other projects that you'd like to share with our viewers or anything you'd like to mention before we let you go today?
Any events maybe you might be attending at some point soon?
Well, I'm very excited that someone named Scott has an arcade in the Phoenix area.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
He was there last weekend. He
Yeah, I
probably
know who
met
you're
him.
talking about. Yeah, Scott. He's a great guy too. So that's cool. So you're gonna be seeing him more often?
Well, he said he'd get in touch, so we haven't been back but a week. So, I'm looking forward to that, getting in touch with him and seeing what we can do here in Arizona. And then also, he's opening up a new arcade in Mesa,
Nice.
and that sounds exciting too. I like to see what's going on with that.
So is it safe to say that you're not working weekends anymore and we'll probably be seeing more of you at these conventions? Great.
Yes, I'm very happy about that. And I'm no longer working in the ICU, which was so intense. Oh, I was also injured for a while the last couple of years, so that was
Oh.
another reason.
Okay.
A foot injury, so it was a little rough doing things. But anyway, yeah. So now I'm working in an outpatient setting, so they're not even open on the weekends.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
the worst would be that I have to work Friday and just get off of work on the Friday.
So the MK community should be seeing you a lot more now.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know if anyone's still going to care after 30 years, but
I
I'm
think
willing now. Now I've got the time.
I think the 30th anniversary has demonstrated that the fans definitely care. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm available now, and so I should be able to be able to make some of these events. It'll be great fun.
It's great to hear.
Awesome. Well, we always like to ask our guest if they have a favorite fatality, brutality, any finisher from Mortal Kombat. Anything on your mind?
I'm sorry, fatal.
A fatality, like for example, the Kiss
Finisher
of Death. Finisher move, yeah.
Well, I'd still think the Kiss of Death is the best.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah. It
It's
is
not partial, but yeah, I mean, I just think it was so appropriate coming from a female character that with that balance of being strong but sexy. So, you know, that's just, to me, that was the perfect finishing move for her to actually blow a kiss, but when it was dead. And I love how the skeleton, their opponent turns into a skeleton and just...
Yeah.
Yeah. So Liz, where is it that our listeners can find you? I mean, if they want to, you know, kind of keep track of you, see events that you're coming to or anything like that, do you have any social media or anything like that you like to plug?
I don't. I tried to be active on Facebook, but I don't know why I just don't like Facebook. So
okay.
I don't know. I just can't get into it ever. Have never been able to. Do people go on Twitter at all? The gamers go on Twitter? Because I
A
thought
lot
I'd
of
give
Mortal
that.
Kombat fans.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I'm gonna try that because Facebook was just not working for me.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna set up some Twitter, get on Twitter and see how that works out.
When you
Yeah,
do,
be sure
you
to-
let us know, and we'll add that to
Exactly.
the description of this video when it goes live.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, we'd just like to say, firstly, thank you to all of our listeners for stopping by the Realm Kast, and, well, very importantly, thank you very much, Liz, for joining us on this episode. It's been such a pleasure being able to talk to you and hear from you directly after, I don't know how long it's been since you've done anything like this, if ever.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been really fun, and I hope we can do this again another time. It's been great. I hope to be more active with all of this from now on.
And we hope to see that too.
That'd be great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. And you can find Yanni and myself, Phantom, on the Mortal Kombat group on Facebook, as well as Yanni on the Mortal Kombat meme realm, which is also on Instagram.
And you can also join our official Discord channel, hosted on Mortal Kombat Online server through the link in the description, where we discuss Mortal Kombat along with our listeners.
A special thanks to Uppercut Editions for their continued support. The Realm Kast is the official podcast for Mortal Kombat Online.
And you can catch up on all episodes of the Realm Kast on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and of course, MortalKombatOnline.com. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sonya wins.